Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Now it appears that I'll have to make do on my promise to defend video games for as long as I need to. Now as you can clearly see by the thumbnail, this is going to be about the apparent lawsuit for Fortnite. Now the lawsuit stems from parents saying that the game is as addictive as cocaine. Now in this video, I'll talk a bit about business as well as some common sense. So if you just wanted me to only talk about a video defending Fortnite, I do apologize, but I'll need to get into the way that business works as well as some common sense to try and get my argument across. Now, in the case for addiction, for that argument, they do have a point. Now, before you think that I am taking a side, allow me to elaborate. You see, the world of business is very shady. From the food industry adding chemicals as well as adverts with subliminal messages that make us want and crave whatever food is being shown in that advertisement, to the gaming industry wanting the game to be addictive to ensure that the life of the game lasts as long as it possibly can so that they can profit for as long as they can on that single product. Business almost always incorporates some psychology in their plans because in order to get someone to buy something, that they don't need, you need to get into their minds. You need to understand how they think. It's why a lot of businesses, almost all of them, when they get the funds and they're able to, they will look for people who have their masters in psychology, even though the product or service that they are selling has absolutely nothing to do with mental health. Now, another argument in this case stems from the fact that, it's addictive because, the game is meant to trigger dopamine releases in the brain, and if you are unfamiliar what dopamine is, it is the chemical in the brain that is connected to ecstasy and contentment. Now, yes, the game is essentially designed to trigger you to feel happy and content at times. But let me elaborate on the triggers of dopamine and whatnot. Now, dopamine isn't necessarily just connected to addiction, as it can be something as innocent as snuggling a kitten to as morbid as shooting up drugs into your arms in an alleyway. Those both can trigger, dopamine releases. But this is where my understanding, comes to an end in terms of, the arguments. Because, yeah, Fortnite is made to trigger dopamine releases in your brain because that involves you being content and happy. But for all the workers talking about this as, the main selling point as the addiction of Fortnite, let me tell you something right now, folks. Allow me to enlighten that completely darkened mind of yours. Everyone on this earth has dopamine. It is a natural chemical in your brain that triggers when you get happy. It's the thing that makes you feel good when you're experiencing a happy moment. For example, this isn't just limited to something like Fortnite. This is triggered a lot, and for our over-sexualized culture, dopamine is released with essentially everything about sex, whether that's masturbation or full-on intercourse. Dopamine is that chemical connected to, once again, ecstasy and contentment. Now, these same parents aren't going to be talking about that dopamine when they were, getting it on to bring the darn kid into this world. So, that really just shows that they don't even understand what the heck they're arguing about as far as I am concerned. Now, addiction is completely out of the equation after all because, we're supposed to... You see, the dopamine and stuff, it's fine so long as, it's not doing anything that we can connect to some bullcrap video games, for example, because in our day and age, video games are really hammered as oh, they're making people violent and people are addicted to video games. But that same chemical that they are using for this argument in terms of addiction, dopamine, is released in a number of other things. And once again, in our over-sexualized culture, I don't think anyone's going to talk about the fact that that's released during intercourse. And then there's the ignorance and hypocrisy of the parents. Once again, they do have a point in the fact that, yes, the devs design games, not just Fortnite, not just Call of Duty, not just like any games that you know, like with loot boxes and whatnot. All devs, for the most part, design their games to be addictive to a degree. Why would someone pay $60 for something they will play once and then never touch again? There has to be something keeping that person, coming back. There has to be something that makes that person want to play that game and complete something. They need to feel some sort of accomplishment. So yes, game devs design their games to be a bit more addictive. They want you to keep coming back so that you can actually feel like the price is justified. It can be food, it can be sports. There's a lot of things out there that are meant to be addictive. That's how companies keep their businesses flowing, whether that be the environment that they create for the customers, where they feel comfortable and relax, that makes them, feel comfortable, like this is a good place to spend my money, or, the product itself, whether it's just really amazing, or it could be a mixture of the two. In this case, it's mainly the product. The games are designed to be played for a long period of time, so there has to be something keeping the players coming back. But really, again, parents, this is really where I'm gonna rip these guys a new one. As for you saying that, oh, it's Fortnite and Fortnite ruined your kid's life, let me tell you how plainly ignorant you must really be. Fortnite is an online game. You cannot play this game unless you have internet access. You know who's likely paying the internet bill? Enabling your kids to play it all day like you're complaining about? That would be you. How about knowing that they're playing a game, till 2 a.m. in the morning, despite the fact that they have school tomorrow? Are you not putting your foot down and turning off the console yourself? Or do you just let them do so and then, they go to school exhausted and now you don't want to see them at fault? Oh, let's not to mention the fact that if you are so against video games, why are you allowing your child to have a console, or even a computer? Why are you allowing them to have access to a console or a computer without adult supervision, since you're so against your kids playing video games? All this case really shows is that you're a lazy parent who's incompetent, who lets their kids walk all over them, and then when it starts showing in the schools, since you don't want to get blamed, you find a scapegoat. And in our culture, the main thing that people are blaming right now for darn near everything these days is video games. From mass shootings to addiction to the male fantasy in video games, like the feminazis want to say. And since, video games are that scapegoat at the moment, this is just another thing that you could use to dodge the equation and dodge the question, is this really the video game's fault? Or is this your fault because you weren't doing your job as a parent? And with that being said, that is going to bring this video to a close. I do hope you guys enjoyed, because frankly, this is going to be a bit on the shorter side. But these people are absolutely hysterical when it comes to video games. They're blaming it for literally everything, and there's so many cases, no matter if it's the mass shootings, or if it's the freaking cause of violence, or even addiction in this case with the parents. they're always blaming the video games because they know 9 times out of 10 it was their fault in some way. So they need a scapegoat, and that's what video games are. So once again, that's going to bring this to a close. If you are new here, please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell if you enjoy this content. And do tell me, what are your thoughts on the matter down below, because I'd love to hear what yours are. As always, rate the video what you think it deserves. Tell me what you want to see in the future in the comments below. Feel free to check out my amino, it's linked in the comments. And I will see all of you in the next video. Take care, and wake up.